Greetings, humans who are about to re-enter the educational system and others potentially watching this video. My name's Robert.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Central Music.
Right.
And we'd like to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
About musics.
Time we had to talk. Music time.
Yeah. I think, there's many students that are going to be entering into instrumental music this fall for the very first time. It's super exciting.
Very exciting.
And I thought maybe we could talk about some of the ways you can set your student up for success with a good instrument.
Yeah, maybe we could do a lightning round.
Oof. Josh, I know sometimes your memory's not that great, so I'd like to remind you the last time we did a lightning round.
Okay. Lightning round?
Yes. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What?
So, what's a way that you can get an instrument?
Well, there are many ways. Maybe
Establish this.
a relative has an instrument that they're willing to pass on to you.
It's a thing. Or a neighbor.
Yeah. Or
friend.
Older sibling even that was in band.
Usually that's a really good place to get an instrument, because if it's an instrument that's being passed down,
right,
it's obviously served well, or we would hope that it's served well in its initial life in making music.
Yeah.
So really the only hurdle you have to get over is to make sure that the instrument has all the accessories that it needs, and that it's in good playing condition.
Right.
And a lot of times just showing it to an instructor or somebody who already plays, be able to evaluate it, or you could bring it into your local music shop, have it evaluated.
Right. Whatever
it needs, get it done. Usually you want to do that, couple of weeks before school starts?
Yeah, at least a couple.
Just in case there's something that needs to be addressed with the instrument, you have time to have it addressed before the student needs it for class.
Right. What would you say to a parent that, like, the older sibling played flute, but now the younger one wants to go into band, but wants to play the clarinet?
That's another potential pitfall, right? Like, sometimes I think students play an instrument because it's what's at hand.
Right.
I often feel, first of all, having an instrument is better than having no instrument and not being able to participate.
Right.
But I do always feel that a student's success is often dependent on their interest in what they're doing.
For sure.
And if it's not something, meaning an instrument, that they're not particularly interested in, it could put up a barrier to their success. Maybe the better thing to do in that circumstance, especially if it's an older sibling, is seeing if there's some kind of trade-in value for that instrument, so it can be traded in towards the instrument that the student actually wants to play.
For sure.
And certainly there's a whole world on the internet where you can make trades. Facebook is maybe not a bad place to do that. Some people might be in the same situation. They have a clarinet, but need a flute, and you might have a flute and need a clarinet.
For sure.
Make a trade. So
yeah,
it's not a bad thing. What about the possibility of having an instrument supplied by the school?
I think that most schools do have a limited supply of instruments for the beginners coming in. That would be a question for the student's teacher. Probably the earlier that communication happens, the better. Especially, we're kind of going down the same road. The school has so many instruments. If there's, if they have 3 flutes and 4 students ask for a school flute, you might end up playing something else. But in general, I think that's a pretty good route.
I think it's a good short-term solution.
True.
Obviously, if a student enjoys music and wants to play it, the fact that that instrument may be collected and given to another new student the following year would then leave you without an instrument, and you would be in the same place that you are.
And we see
but
that
it is
see that a lot too when the students go on to high school.
But it is a viable option.
Point. Yeah, especially for starting. Especially if you're, worried about what the interest level is going to be. Getting them in band now and buying something later is an option too.
Buying, that's an interesting topic in and of itself. Is it a good idea to buy an instrument?
I think as long as you do a little research, maybe talk to the student's teacher, they'll steer you in the right direction as to what to purchase. A good quality student instrument is probably going to cost you up front $700 and up. But if that's kind of within your budget, that's an option. There's not a lot of flexibility to that option is the only pitfall. You buy that instrument, if your student doesn't continue in band, you know, you'll have that instrument in your house at the end of the year. Or if they want to switch or...
yeah, 'cause potentially your student might find that they really enjoy music, but they don't really enjoy a particular instrument,
Right.
a trumpet or a clarinet or whatever. They want to try something else. If you purchased it, you're kind of in on
Just
that.
kind of have it, for sure.
And then also, you could potentially get in for that $600 price point, but you know as well as I do that a high quality student instrument, most of them are $1,200 and up.
Yeah.
$600 might be something
For
that's
like a
pretty
used-
used,
yeah.
maybe not in the best of condition to
Right.
begin with.
As an entry point.
Yeah, as an entry point. What other options are there, you think?
Well, you could rent an instrument.
Really?
Yes. I've
Well,
heard of this.
But if you're renting, then are you just throwing your money down a hole? And wouldn't you just be better off buying something and so that your student can
Well,
just continue to participate?
The school, the music stores and vendors that support the school music programs offer a rental program where you're building equity towards the purchase of the instrument with each payment you make.
It's weird. It sounds like what we do here at Central Musical.
It is what we do here at Central Music.
All right, and I do think that all of the things we've discussed are really good, viable options for a student to get an instrument. The one thing I'd say about everything we've discussed thus far is you want to make sure, we've used the word quality a number of times. Josh
Yeah,
used it and I
for
used
sure.
it, and I feel like it is the key word in all of this. A poor quality instrument is a poor
Bad
reason
experience.
for a student to give up on making music. And there's unfortunately a sea of poor quality instruments out there. So whether you're getting something from a neighbor or a friend or a relative or the internet or doing a trade or a swap with someone or looking to buy something through a website, run that instrument past somebody who knows something about instruments first. Don't believe every online review. We've had one of these
Right.
discussions about online reviews. Don't believe everything that you read, but talk to someone that you trust that would know about it, and your teacher is a very good resource for that, or someone you know that plays maybe professionally. That said, renting is also a really viable option, and I'll give you 3 really good reasons that it is. The first one is that your upfront cost is very, very low, somewhere between $35 and $70 for any instrument to get in the door and get started playing. The second reason is you're covered regardless of the student's commitment to that instrument. If the student doesn't really find that music is their jam, they're going to be way better off having had the experience than not having had the experience. And it's okay, it's not for everybody, but at least they'll have done it. And if you're renting, you can just return it. You're not obligated really any further. If you've bought an instrument, now you got to figure out what you want to do with it. If the student changes their mind and wants to play a different instrument on a rental program, you're covered. That instrument can be exchanged for any other instrument at any time at no cost to you. So again, on the commitment level, regardless of the result, you're covered. And then the last thing I would say is that typically you will get the finest quality instrument available when you go through a rental program.
Right.
Just by the nature of this business, you want to have long-lasting, high-quality, easy-to-repair, good playing instruments, because it's not only in the best interest of the student, but selfishly it's in the best interest of the business. If they don't have good quality instruments, students are either going to quit or it's going to cost a fortune to keep those instruments running.
Right.
So it is the lowest possible cost to entry for the highest quality and potentially offering the best experience for the students. So I know all of this may have sounded like a big commercial,
Right.
and I don't think we sat down necessarily to do that, but I think as we enter into the school year, it's good to be thoughtful about your process and how you're going to choose the instrument. And there are a lot of options available to people, and a lot of really good options that don't involve renting.
Yeah.
But I guess I'd just like to point out that Central Music is here for you every step of the way, whether you're choosing to do business with us or not. We would like to be a resource to you. So if you have a question about something, feel free to reach out to us, either in the comments or email, call us. We're happy to talk to you about any instrument that maybe even a neighbor has that you might be interested in purchasing.
Yeah.
The folks here know musical instruments and want to be a resource for you. And if you're interested in renting, well, of course, we're here to help you.
To get all those kids in music.
And avoid lightning rounds because
it hurts. Poseidon's beard hurts.
I knew we'd get around to something like Poseidon's beard.
Yes.
Just wouldn't be a conversation without it. Listen, this has been a little bit of a longer conversation than we normally have. Thanks for sticking it out with us. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. It helps us continue to do what we do here, and we like doing it.
Musicking.
Musicking.
Let's do it.
So we'll talk to you all again very soon.